What if the next Spider-Man movie is not about saving the city, but about surviving your own mind? Cosmic Crew, this is Jack Baker, and welcome back to JackVerse. Today we are breaking down Spider-Man Brand New Day. And the leaks you are about to hear change everything we thought we knew. This film is darker, heavier, and more emotional than No Way Home. And by the end of this video you will understand why Peter Parker may be more dangerous than any villain he has ever faced. Director Destin Daniel Cretton himself confirmed that Tom Holland delivers his most intense performance ever in Brand New Day. He said Tom went to emotional places fans have never seen before, and that matters because this is not superhero spectacle first. This is a character breakdown. Peter Parker is pushed past grief, past guilt, and past hope. According to insiders, this performance is designed to emotionally connect with anyone who has ever felt completely alone. Now, here's where things get interesting. Sony is reportedly unsure when to release the first trailer. Some sources say it could drop any day. Others claim they are targeting Super Bowl week, but not the game itself. That decision makes sense, because competing with Avengers Doomsday would be risky. Both films are massive, and Sony may want to ride the hype instead of fighting it. That delay could be hiding something much bigger. Multiple insiders say a recent plot leak lines up perfectly with leaked footage and early trailer descriptions, meaning this may be the real story of Brand New Day, with only minor details still unconfirmed. And if true, this movie is less about villains and more about consequences. Every rumor we have heard about tone, emotion, and brutality connects here. And that makes this leak impossible to ignore if you care about the future of Spider-Man. The movie reportedly opens with Peter Parker completely broken after No Way Home, and May is gone. MJ and Ned do not remember him. Happy has no idea who he is, and Peter feels like a ghost in his own life. He even writes a letter to MJ, and chooses not to send it, realizing she may be safer without him, and this moment sets the emotional trap that will snap shut later in the story. This is not a fun high school Spider-Man story. Brand New Day is described as a psychological character study. Peter Parker is isolated, emotionally exhausted, and barely holding himself together. Loneliness becomes the real villain. The movie explores what happens when the mask is the only thing keeping someone alive, and this detail was not accidental. Marvel wants audiences to feel Peter's mental weight before the action ever truly begins. Peter eventually seeks out MJ, only to discover she is now with Harry Osborn, and this moment reportedly hits harder than any punch. MJ has moved on because she does not remember Peter at all. And rumors suggest this is our true introduction to Harry, and possibly Norman Osborn in the MCU. Peter accepts that his place has been replaced. That realization quietly destroys him while opening the door to a brand new era. The title Brand New Day finally reveals its meaning here. Peter chooses not to interfere, not to fight for MJ, and not to reclaim his past. Instead, he accepts a painful reset, hopeful but broken. This is not a victory, it is surrender disguised as growth. And what everyone thinks is Peter moving forward is actually him burying part of himself, and that choice will have consequences far bigger than he realizes. Peter begins to see Spider-Man as a curse rather than a gift. He pushes Peter Parker aside and fully commits to being the friendly neighborhood hero. Crime fighting becomes a distraction from grief. We see a montage of him taking down mid-level villains across the city. But here's what nobody talks about. Every victory pulls him further away from who he actually is, and the imbalance starts tearing him apart. While the public celebrates Spider-Man as a hero, the authorities see him as a threat, and this tension fuels the next phase of the story. Law enforcement pressure increases, oversight tightens. And Spider-Man becomes a target instead of a symbol. The city may cheer him on, but the system is preparing to shut him down, and that conflict is about to turn very personal for Peter Parker. This is where the Department of Damage Control steps fully into the spotlight. The DODC is no longer background noise. It is now an active force hunting enhanced individuals. Led by a mysterious figure played by Tremel Tillman, this version of the DODC sees Spider-Man as an unregulated weapon, not a hero, and that mindset turns Peter from neighborhood protector into a fugitive, escalating the danger on every level. As the pressure builds, Peter's powers begin to malfunction. His webbing misfires, his strength fluctuates, and his body reacts violently to stress and depression. Insiders claim his mutation is accelerating, anger fuels it, pain feeds it, and Spider-Man starts losing control of the very abilities that once saved him. And this detail was not accidental. It is the warning sign that something monstrous is coming. Behind the scenes, Sony and Marvel are finally aligned, and this movie proves it. Brand New Day reportedly features more villains than any previous MCU Spider-Man film, something that was impossible before. Sony has stopped isolating its universe and is now letting Marvel fully play with the toy box, and that cooperation explains why the story feels bigger, darker, and more connected to the future of the MCU. Then comes the reveal that changes everything. Sadie Sink is heavily rumored to be playing Jean Grey, and all signs point in that direction. Mutants are now on the run, and Jean is viewed by the DODC as a walking disaster. She is powerful but unfinished, not Phoenix yet, not trained, and not protected by the X-Men, and her arrival signals that the mutant era has quietly begun. When Peter crosses paths with Jean Grey, the encounter is anything but friendly. Misunderstanding turns into hostility. Spider-Man sees another potential threat, while Jean sees a broken man hiding behind a mask. Tension fills every frame, and this moment matters because it sets up the emotional clash that will later save Peter's life, even though neither of them realizes it yet. Things escalate fast when the Punisher enters the story as Jean Grey's protector. This is not a team-up. It is a collision. Frank Castle sees Spider-Man as unstable. While Peter views Zhang as a threat he must stop, weapons clash, morals collide, and the presence of the Punisher raises the stakes immediately, because once Frank is involved, restraint disappears, and the line between hero and menace starts to blur. The real villain finally steps out of the shadows. Tombstone emerges as the mastermind pulling the strings, posing as a businessman while secretly destabilizing New York. He controls the Hand, commands trained ninjas, and profits from chaos through protection schemes. This is not random crime, it is calculated collapse. And Tombstone's influence spreads quietly until the entire city becomes a battlefield hiding in plain sight. Tombstone makes his move by orchestrating a brutal prison break. Scorpion is freed, violence erupts across the city, and Spider-Man intervenes to stop the carnage. The Punisher joins the fight using military force, including a convoy that ends in disaster. Buildings fall, streets burn, and despite Spider-Man trying to save lives, the blame lands squarely on him, pushing him closer to complete isolation. The Department of Damage Control seizes the moment. They publicly label Spider-Man as the cause of the destruction, ignoring evidence and intent. Warrants are issued, surveillance increases, and Peter becomes the enemy of the state overnight. This is where the system fully turns against him, and the pressure becomes unbearable, forcing his already fragile mind toward a breaking point he may not survive. With enemies everywhere, Peter's stress finally reaches its limit. Pain fuels anger. Anger accelerates mutation. His body enters its final stage. Witnesses describe a monster's transformation, twisted, powerful, and uncontrollable. This is not Spider-Man anymore. This is something new, something terrifying, and this moment changes everything, because the greatest threat in the city is no longer Tombstone. It is Peter Parker himself. Peter fully loses control, and the man-spider is unleashed. His appearance is monstrous, his movements are savage, his emotions are completely unchecked. He attacks without strategy or restraint, striking anyone who comes near him. The city watches in horror as Spider-Man becomes the very thing the authorities feared. And this detail changes everything, because once the mask slips, there is no clear line between hero and disaster anymore. In a shocking turn, Peter attacks those closest to stopping the chaos. The Punisher stands his ground, Jean Grey fights defensively, and Grey Hulk enters the conflict with raw force. Imagine that scene for a moment. Spider-Man versus the Punisher, Jean Grey, and Grey Hulk at the same time. This is not a villain fight. It is a breakdown captured in combat, and every blow represents Peter's internal war spilling into reality. At the peak of destruction, Jean Grey makes a choice that saves Peter's life. Instead of fighting him physically, she enters his mind, pushing past rage, guilt, and fear. She forces Peter to confront the pain he has been running from, MJ, Ned, the life he abandoned. And this changes everything, because Peter finally hears what his heart has been screaming all along. Jean helps Peter realize the truth he has been avoiding. He cannot erase Peter Parker to save the world. Helping others while destroying himself is not heroism, it is self-destruction. Spider-Man only works when Peter does too. And that realization grounds him, slowly pulling him back from the edge, reminding him that responsibility also means taking care of his own humanity. As Peter regains control, Bruce Banner steps in with the final solution. Now a professor and scientist, once again he has been studying Peter's mutation from a distance. Banner creates an antidote designed to stabilize Peter's altered biology, reversing the transformation over time. And this moment matters because it connects Spider-Man to the larger MCU while proving that even heroes sometimes need saving too. After the chaos settles, Jean Grey disappears into the shadows, but not before hinting that this is only the beginning. Reports confirm her return in Avengers Secret Wars. And that matters because Jean is not just a guest character, she is a bridge to the mutant future. Her presence here quietly confirms that mutants already exist in the MCU, hiding, hunted, and waiting for the moment the world finally discovers them. Peter Parker finally accepts the truth he has been running from. He cannot choose between being Spider-Man and being Peter Parker. He must be both. Abandoning his personal life only leads to destruction. Embracing responsibility means protecting himself too. This is the lesson Aunt May tried to teach him. And this emotional resolution completes the arc that began the moment the world forgot who he was. The post-credit scene delivers the real shock. Tombstone acquires a vial containing the Venom symbiote, setting the stage for a brand new Venom in the MCU. Not Tom Hardy's version, but a fresh host, possibly a new Eddie Brock. This moment confirms Sony and Marvel are finally aligned, and the symbiote storyline that fans awaited years for is officially back on the table. With Tombstone rising, Scorpion freed, Venom teased, and multiple enemies introduced, the path becomes clear. Marvel is slowly building toward a Sinister Six-style confrontation, not rushed, not forced, but earned. Spider-Man's greatest threats are assembling piece by piece. And Brand New Day is not the end of this story, it is the foundation for the most dangerous chapter of Peter Parker's life. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think this darker Spider-Man story is the right direction, or is Marvel pushing Peter too far? If you enjoy uncovering hidden details like this, make sure you support the channel by liking and subscribing to JackVerse. I'm Jack Baker, and this is the kind of Marvel storytelling that changes everything, and I will see you in the next one.